Are your business expenses currently eating up your profit? In this video, I'm going to give you some tips on how you can actually save money and cut your business costs by doing simple things within your business operations. So if you're excited to learn how you can save a little bit of money in your business, make sure you like the video while the intro plays, and I will meet you on the other side.
There's no stopping me now. I know my shot. Sit down. Money's all over me. I'm called to be rich and be free.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I am Ebony Evaughn. Welcome to Soul Struggle Land. This is my internet home where I help you to go from confused to the ethical cash generating boss that we both know you are meant to be. In today's video, we are talking about business costs, business expenses. Listen, I don't know about you, but it seems like every other day I am getting an email from a service provider, from a SaaS model telling me, listen, in order to stay competitive, we're going to have to increase our costs because of rising business expenses to them, and costs that are incurred in them providing services and products to us. They are going to have to increase their expenses. So this is one of the reasons I know everyone keeps asking me about the entrepreneur planner and journal that I used to offer in the past. And the reason why I haven't offered it for this year is because of the fact that it was going to cost me way too much to actually produce it. And I would have to charge like $30 for a simple annual planner, right? And so I didn't want to have to charge that much. And so I just decided not to produce it at all. But I am working behind the scenes to actually try to negotiate with new suppliers and vendors so that I can actually provide the entrepreneur planner for next year, okay? But in today's video, I want to give you some tips. If you're like me, you're constantly being bombarded with those notifications that your service providers, the systems and tech tools that you're using in your business are increasing their costs yet again. I'm going to give you some tips on how you can actually streamline your business operations so that you can cut costs and save money. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the first tip for how you can actually cut costs and save money in your business. And this is going to be with tech optimization. So I want you to actually do a tech audit of the systems and different tools that you're using in your business. Literally go through, list out every single tool that you are paying for. And then you want to ask yourself, number one, do I actually need this? Is it something that you use on a regular basis, or at least enough to justify paying for it? Are there any new alternatives that you can use that may be a little bit more cost effective? Another thing that you want to do is look for duplicity. So one thing that I do when I go into client businesses and I conduct operational audits is I will look at their tech stack and look at what different systems and tools they're using in order to just operate their business. And one thing that I see a lot is oftentimes my clients are using tools that have duplicate functions. So you may be using Adobe in order to create PDFs, create fillable documents, but you're using DocuSign or HelloSign in order to get agreements signed and send them off to the customer, when you can actually do that with Adobe if you're on the Pro plan, right? And so there's no need for you to pay for both the Adobe Pro and then also pay for HelloSign or DocuSign. So you can look within your business at your tech stack and see if you are paying for duplicate tools that can do the same thing. And another reason why you may want to do this as well is as technology changes, especially with so many SaaS models, software as a service, incorporating AI, there are a lot of transformational services and new features that can be done without you having to pay for other things. I know at one point I was thinking about paying for ChatGPT's Plus version. I think it's like $20 a month or something. And when I really thought about it, and I was like, well, I have so many other tools that I'm using that have actually created their own AI, or they're actually leveraging the ChatGPT on the back end of their system. So for example, I use Teachable for hosting my online courses, and within Teachable, they have their own little AI generated sections where it can help you come up with lessons. It can help you come up with quizzes for your lessons. And so because they have actually infused that into their tech stack, there's no need for me to pay for ChatGPT to actually create a quiz when I could do it within Teachable itself. And the same is true for a lot of the other tech tools that I use within my business. Because they have incorporated AI, it has really changed the game, especially if you are using Notion. Listen, Notion's AI is like on a whole nother level. And there are so many things you could do just within Notion using AI. So definitely review your tech systems for ways that you can optimize the different tech tools and systems that you have in your business. And while we're talking about systems, let's go ahead and talk about your systematic workflows and processes within your business. If you want to be able to save money and cut business expenses, one thing that you want to actually review and audit is your workflows and processes that you have within your business. When you're doing different tasks within your business, is there a lot of repetition that can be automated? Is there a lot of duplicity where maybe you have a team and you have your team member write blogs for you, they write social media content for you, they come up with content ideas, but then you're also doing the same exact task and there's a lot of duplicate work being done. Maybe you have multiple team members and there's a lot of overlap between the things that they're doing, and maybe you can streamline and cut down that workflow. So maybe within that workflow, it doesn't have to touch as many people. Maybe there's not so many duplicate processes where this team member does it and this team member has to do it as well, or you're the one who's actually doing it. But if you take a closer look, and one thing that I tell my clients to do all the time is just record your workflow when you do a process, whatever that is. If you're editing a video, what is the process you do when you edit a video? If you are writing a blog post, what is the process that you do when you're actually writing that blog post? If you are onboarding a new client, what is the process that you have when you onboard a new client? And you can look for maybe steps in the process where it's creating bottlenecks. And so, okay, like you're waiting on a client for something, the client is waiting on you, or maybe there's a step in the process where it's like, well, this step doesn't really need to be done, or maybe this step can be moved up here and it can make the process more efficient and streamlined. And then that's going to help you to save time as well as money within your business just by streamlining your workflows and your processes within your business. Maybe it won't take your employees as many hours to get specific tasks done, so you're saving money as far as actual resource allocation to pay for work, whether that's paying contractors or if you have part-time or full-time employees. But then also you're saving time as well. In addition to optimizing your tech stack and making sure you streamline your processes and workflows, you want to make sure that you are outsourcing wisely, okay? So when it comes to hiring contractors, when it comes to outsourcing or delegating tasks within your business, you want to make sure that you're outsourcing and delegating the right tasks, right? So look at the tasks that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. What are some tasks that are going to be your high revenue generating activities? Or they impact your revenue within your business? Those are the things that you should be focused on. And then you can outsource maybe things that are important, but not necessarily, it doesn't require your specific skill set or your level of expertise to do. But then also on the flip side of outsourcing, when it comes to outsourcing things, you have to really be honest with yourself if you can afford it, right? I have this conversation with clients all the time where I will tell them, listen, either you're going to have to pay with time or with money. So if you don't have the money to actually hire a contractor, pay for employees, then maybe it's something that you just have to do yourself, and you have to invest that time so that you can save money. And I know people don't like to hear that, but that sometimes that's the reality of the situation. if you cannot afford to pay someone else to do it, then you just have to do it yourself and eat up that time. All right. So outsourcing wisely can go both ways. Even if you aren't in a position to outsource, sometimes you can save time and money by automating specific processes or repetitive tasks within your business. So a couple tools that are really good for this. Again, there are a lot of AI tools that you can use to automate administrative tasks within your business. There's also tools like Zapier that allows tools that weren't meant to communicate and talk to each other to actually do that through, connecting them through Zaps and using Zapier as a third party kind of extension. And when you use those automation tools, you can take maybe process and tasks that used to take you maybe an hour, maybe 2-3 hours to do, but now you can automate that process, and you don't even have to allot that or count that in your daily work hours at all. All right, so let me tell you all a quick story from back in the day when I worked in HR, and this is how I actually ended up getting a new job title and being able to get promotions and then get better paying jobs, as a result. But anyway, so back in the day when I worked in human resources, I started out as an HR training instructor. So I did workforce development, which meant I did like new employee orientation. Whenever employees started at the company, I would, help them with their paperwork, orientate them to the company policies, and tell them everything they need to know basically to get orientated to their job in the company. I also did like supervisory training. So whenever someone got promoted and they were first time supervisor, we had a particular curriculum that they had to go through in order to train them about HR policies, like how to manage employees, how to handle difficult employees, all that stuff, right? So we used to have an HR assistant who ended up getting fired, but she did all of our reports. And so she did this thing called the utilization report, which was basically like an agency breakdown. Of course, in HR, it's all about, you have to have that diversity and inclusion, right? And so the utilization report was basically a report that broke down the demographics for every single employee within the agency. So based on their position, their salary, their title, if it's management, non-management, supervisor versus, C-suite executives, it broke down the age, their demographics, their gender, their salary, all that information. And so the previous HR assistant that used to do this report, it used to take her like 10 days to get this report done because of the fact that she literally had like an Excel spreadsheet and she would have tallies like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. When people would send in their numbers for like, okay, employees in this position, employees in this grade. I work for the state, so everything is like a grade, right? You have like a GS 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 13, whatever. And then you have your managers that have like their own little scale. And so she would literally say, okay, like female 1, and then tally it that way. And that's why it took her 10 days to get this report done. And then so she ended up getting fired. And I was trying to give myself a little raise at the time. So I went to my HR manager and I was like, hey, instead of hiring, another assistant, I could do this utilization report. But, if I'm going to take on more roles and responsibilities, your girl's going to need a little bit more coinage to go along with that. Okay. And listen, my boss was like, baby, we don't have no money for that. We still going to have another HR assistant to come in to do these other things that this person did. I was supposed to say her name, but this person did. But if you want to do the utilization report, you can do it. And I was like, well, if I do it, can I at least change my job title, right? So instead of just being an HR training instructor, I want to change my title to HR analyst. And the reason why I did that is because I was wanting to kind of get away from workforce development and get more into like data analyst positions and more roles that were based on data reporting and statistics and analysis, because that is what I did in the military and I really, really loved that. So they ended up letting me do this utilization report, And when I did the report and I saw how the previous employee was doing it, I was like, this can be done with macros. Like, this could be automated, and this could be like a simple click of a button every single month. Like, there's no need for this to take 10 days to get done. So basically what I ended up doing is I created a default Excel spreadsheet, and it was like a CSV file that had like the categories. I don't remember all the different categories it had. I think it had like age, gender, their GS level, their maybe title, their location, because also it was a state agency, so of course our employees were around the whole state. And I think it had like their region and then something else, right? But I basically created a default template for the CSV file, and I sent it to all of the department heads who would send in this monthly report. And I said, listen, moving forward, put all your data in this report. Once you input your data, make sure you have it in there by this date. Once you have it, all your data ready, then drop this file in this folder, right? And it was like a shared drive that everyone had access to. I would tell them, drop your file in this folder by this date. And so when people would put their file in that folder, and then when the 5th of the month came, I would literally have a little macro enabled Excel spreadsheet that I had, where on this date, everyone's supposed to have their spreadsheet filled out and dropped in that folder. I create a macro that would go read all the files in that folder and basically populate the utilization report for me. So literally all I had to do was hit a button. It used to take the previous person 10 days to do this report, and it started taking me a matter of seconds. Like, I would have it done in 5 days, and that's only because the deadline gave people to the 5th in order to actually put their CSV file in the folder so that I could run the report. And so it went from this being a task that was literally taking someone 10 days, probably working 3 or 4 hours a day to create, to literally just a matter of minutes to get this thing done. Now, of course, it did require some training. You know, when you have people in these state positions, they've been there for a long time. They don't want to change the process. They don't want to learn how to do something new. But listen, all you gotta do is fill out the CSV file, drop it in this folder. It's gonna make all of our lives easier, right? But that is just an example of how you can automate processes, and then you can go from spending 10 hours on something to literally 0, just because you're automating your repetitive tasks that require a lot of time. Now let's get into the last tip that I have for you when it comes to saving money and cutting business expenses within your business. And this is something that a lot of people probably do not think about, but it is having energy efficient practices in your business. As the fact that you have an online business, you work from home, people don't realize how much you're probably driving up your energy costs within your home just because you're there all day, right? So maybe you want to be mindful at like how you set your thermostat. Maybe you want to switch to maybe a more energy efficient thermostat. Maybe you want to make sure that you don't leave your computer. Like me, I have my laptop, I have 2 additional monitors, I have like lights and different gadgets and things in here, hard drives, but I don't want to leave those running all day long if I'm not actually using them. So one thing that I've been teaching myself, just, you know, to be more mindful of the environment in general, is decluttering my Google Drive, my cloud storage, because even though it's up there in the cloud, it is still being stored somewhere, and that impacts our environment. But then also when it comes to my physical computer, monitors, cameras, lights and all that stuff, things left on chargers. Like, I remember I used to leave my camera just kind of charged on the charger because it automatically cuts off when it wasn't in use, just so that when I need it, it's already fully charged and I didn't forget to charge it. But things like that drive up your energy expenses. So you just want to be mindful about those things and then turn them off when they're not in use. So let me know down in the comments below this video, what are some tips that you have for how entrepreneurs, small business owners can actually save money and cut their business costs down, especially given the current climate that we're in right now. Let me know down in the comments if you found any of these tips to be helpful, if you hadn't thought of some of them before. Let me know all the tea down in the comments below this video. As always, I also want to say thanks so much for stopping by my internet home. Make sure you like and comment. If you're new here, consider subscribing to my channel and turning on those notifications so you can be the first one to get notified anytime I upload another video just like this. All right, bye y'all.